G'day friends, welcome to another Page in 10. My name is James. Welcome. Let's get into this. We just need a pencil, I think. Maybe a pencil. I'm going to let you decide if you want to watercolor it afterwards, but as with all of these, I tend to stray away from the watercolor during the demo because it does not dry within 10 minutes. And I'm not at the point where I want to introduce the heat tool. So yeah, watercolor is up to you. Take another 10 minutes to watercolor it if you would like. But for us, we're just going to need a pencil, possibly an eraser. I don't even think I want to challenge myself to be that particular and that careful about it. We're going to draw a pretty sad looking whimsical ornament for a very sad tree in the middle of a forest that is just feeling a little down on Christmas. Does that sound terrible? No, I just want to draw a really, kind of, it's neutral. It's a neutral, whimsical looking ornament, but I guess you could say it's a little sad. You know what, why not? Let's express all our emotions throughout the season. So I'm just going to use a pencil for that, and we're going to focus on some of the actual drawing the face features. It's really not a difficult thing, but I want to share with you some little pointers. If you've never done any courses with me before, these are some of the things I think about when I draw these whimsical faces. So we'll just kind of touch on that today. I'm going to set the timer, and we'll do it all in 10 minutes. Can you believe that? Set timer for 10 minutes. Oh, thanks, Siri. Thanks, babe. All right. I want to draw, first of all, how big I want this head. And I want my head to not take up the whole space because underneath the head, and mine's almost like a bit of a sideways oval. It's not long, but it's not a complete circle either. Underneath, I want to draw another circle. It's almost like an upside down figure 8. You can see I go really sketchy with this. At the top, just to draw a little ornament hook and everything already, this is, I forget this shape. What's it called? Oh, I don't know what this is called. But you know what this is? You know that? It's like if you were going to draw a triangle, but you just cut it off. It's that. And then at the bottom, I'm going to draw a series of loops to connect each side. There we go. Sometimes I'll add the little lines on there as well. Let's add a little double rainbow to the top. That's going to be our ornament hook. And a straight line all the way to the top of the page. I don't care if I go over my writing. A big teardrop on one side, a big teardrop on the other, or bunny ears, and then a cute little loop around ribbon. That's just my little ornament hook detail I like. Great, now we can focus on the face and then we'll get to decorating the rest afterwards. So, one of the features I feel like is one of the most whimsical in faces is a really wide set eye. And as I sketch a lot of the area out first rather than trying to draw in detail. So what I'm going to do is sketch this sideways oval eye, just really loose out to the edge. They're really spaced apart. There's a whole bunch of space going on in the middle here. I'm going to sketch it out towards the edge and a little lower. I like there to be a lot of forehead space. I'm also going to come and bring my nose, just a really softly scribbled dash, right in the middle, and I'm going to keep a teeny tiny dash of a mouth, if anything like a really sad upside down dash, really close to that nose. I think it's super cute to have the mouth and the nose really close together, also close to the chin. This, because it's an ornament, isn't going to read like a chin per se, but I think it might be good if we do flatten that out a bit and bring it up. And this is something I do in my drawings all the time. I usually actually start with the face in the proportions that I like, so really wide set eyes and then a really close chin, nose, and mouth. And then I will put the face shape around it so I can make sure that these eyes really do almost hit the edge, and the lips and the mouth, the lips and the nose rather, are super close to the bottom. See how that just gives it a bit of a different look? Now I'm also going to try and tilt these ovals a little bit sideways up. When I first drew them in, they were really flat ovals. Can you see how now I'm kind of pushing some of that pencil into the top diagonals of the eye? It's kind of creating a bit of a socket. It gives it a bit of an alien, kind of waif-like look. because we've moved up the chin, we've lost the connection between this body, so we can add it just a little bit bigger or just take the whole thing a little bit further up. I might just add it a little bit bigger because I don't think it matters too much. Of course, if you wanted to make this all neat, you would have to erase a lot of these lines, but in sketching, I think there's so much charm to a sketch. And if you do start out really lightly, you have an opportunity to bring a lot of detail in just with a heavier pencil at the end. So these can all blend away as soft working lines, so just keep a really light hand when you start. Now you also want to fill a lot of the eye with pupil or iris, meaning you don't want a lot of white in the eye. So when I draw this kind of upside down rainbow, or like this big smile line, or a U shape in the eye, I'm really filling a lot of it. There's not a lot of white space that's going to be left. Like with babies, they tend to have really big eyes, and like just really big pupils can add a lot of kind of whimsy. I'm putting in soft little circles, a bunch of them actually, just next to each other, and I don't want to color those in. Those are going to be all my little catch lights. I'll just color in everything else around those. So think of leaving a white Mickey Mouse head kind of shape in the top right corners, and then you can keep those little catch lights in there. Can you see how those look like really big, kind of alien waif-like eyes? A 2B pencil works kind of the best for these drawings where you're going to keep a lot of the sketching. It's light enough to, a 2B or a B actually, this is a B. It's light enough to keep some of those sketchy lines looking light, but when you do want to press into it, especially with a mechanical pencil, you can get a nice heavy look. So I'm adding some depth just to the outside of the eyes, and I might even scribble just around the outside corners. Again, just lifting into those diagonals to add a little bit of age. I don't want them to look like babies, but I also don't want them to look too mature. So we just kind of snatch those eyes backwards a little bit by adding some shadow into the diagonals, like it's lifting. With the nose, you can run a bit of a soft shadow up like a little bit of a Christmas tree. That sometimes helps. If you were going to go in there really softly with an eraser, you could just erase the tip. A lot of the time it helps to draw noses in as triangles, so you can shade a triangle in. And sometimes I'll put a little extra dash underneath the lip for the chin. There's a little shadow that happens from your bottom lip to your chin, so I scribble that in if I want a little extra detail. I also might go in and add a few little cheeks if I can manage to fit them underneath. Because we keep everything really close to the edges, it might not look right, but if I can add it, I'll add it in, just a little scribble of cheek on the side. It would be better to do it with a color, because sometimes depending, I mean, when you're working with lead pencil, technically you're just working in grayscale, and it can look like it's dirty, or it can look like a bruise even sometimes. So if you do have a colored pencil, sometimes I'll add a bit of that pink or a bit of that red. Red's really great for Christmas too, but I have a pink on hand. Just add that into the cheeks and flush those cheeks out, as well as a bit on the nose. Just right on the tip of the nose kind of helps. So we've added a lot of the depth to the eyes. They're quite whimsical, they're quite waif-like. I'll add a bit of extra depth just to the pupil. Remember, I want to keep all those white catch lights in there as best I can. And then I'm going to flick a few little lashes. I like to downturn these lashes at this point. I'm really enjoying lashes that point down towards the bottom diagonals right now. They just tend to infer that the lid is a lot heavier and that the gaze is a little bit further down, which again helps that little forlorn look. I might add, depending on how I want to characterize it, an extra little line on top of the eye for an eyelid, like the crease. And usually when I do that, I'll start shading above that as well. You'll start getting an extra bit of depth with an eyelid on there. You'll notice the whole thing has been scribbled to this point though. This would look really different if you started to clean it up. And that's why I like to leave all of those scribble lines in there. Honestly, the more scribble lines you have in there, the more forgiving people are when they look at it, because there's a lot of lines for their eyes to fall on, so they generally fill in the blanks for you. And then for the eyebrows, they're just going to be tilting down. And really soft scribbles up in this really open space. I like to keep them really short and stubby. And there we go. At the bottom of our ornament, so that's the whole face. Those are just my little tips. If you've never heard me discuss any of that in detail, it's usually the same thing. I just go a little bit more berserk with the coloring and the details. But that's a good basic place to start. For the bottom of the ornament, I'm going to add another little circle, a little U shape, maybe even some more circles, and then an upside down long teardrop. I just like to add all the extra little bells and whistles to make it look like one of those really long dangly ornaments. Even if I add a few frills underneath here, that might be nice. And add the same frills at the bottom. If you have an ornament on your tree that you'd like to commemorate, or a special pattern on one of those ornaments, you could try and add that on here as well. I'm going to keep it pretty basic and do some scribbles as if it were a candy cane. And I might even do some stars on the face. Oh, and there's our timer. I mean, I'd be happy if that was my 10 minutes. I would probably, honestly, keep working on this just because I have fun drawing them. But have a go at the face, see what you think. It's a very stylized face. See how you enjoy filling in the rest of it with certain patterns, spots, stripes. I mean, if you're anywhere near a Christmas tree, you'll probably have a bunch to look at and try and replicate. But I just wanted to touch on that face today. Just felt like it. I just felt like sharing some of those tips with you. And a cute little ornament like that is always fun to kind of bridge what I like to draw the most, which are people, and specifically like feminine forms and feminine faces. That's what I like to draw the most. So when I want to bridge the gap and, you know, use some of my illustration skills to draw Christmas things, it's hard when a lot of the times the things don't have faces or they're like, it's a Santa Claus and I don't want to draw a man, or it's a reindeer and I don't want to draw a reindeer because I don't like drawing animals that much. So I'm always trying to find a way to bring back the things that I do like to draw, and sometimes that just means anthropomorphizing everything at Christmas. So just a bit of a look at that, and then some of those tips that I would just let you know about just when you're thinking about kind of whimsical and cute. My version of cute, everything's subjective, right? But this is something that I think about when I'm aiming for cute. So that's it for this page in 10. Please join me for some more Christmas themed page in 10 videos as well. Hope you're having a wonderful season. I will see you in the next video. Until then, be safe and happy. Merry Christmas. Goodbye.